Welcome, friends. It's time to get your cacao ready and settle in as we join for another episode of Megan Hopper Presents The Cacao Crowd, where we'll connect to heal, empower, and learn to love ourselves a little more each day. Hey, everybody. I'm so excited you're here. I have probably one of my most favorite people on with me today. Keith Wilson is going to be joining us to talk about being an empath, how to know if you are some kind of symptoms of being an empath, signs, stories of what we've both experienced growing up that kind of brought us to the understanding that that's what we were. And then some ways to work with being an empath, because a lot of what being an empath is caring about other people so much that you need to help them. You want to help them. That's really what drives you. But learning how to not take that into ourselves and take that all on. So this is going to be a really important episode for anyone who's ever felt like maybe there's more, and anyone who's going into any kind of healing work. This is really kind of the foundation, the cornerstone with where you want to start. Because when you're on this journey of healing you don't need to be healing everybody else at the same time. It'll inherently happen just because that's how it works. But it's really about getting back to you, getting back to your center, and understanding how to not necessarily protect yourself, but honor yourself. So I'm super excited for this episode, and kind of much like our fun fact today, being an empath is a lot to do with what's beneath the surface. So our fun fact and corresponding is that the Easter Island heads are not just heads. They're full bodies up to 33 feet. So yeah, you're not alone in this. There are statues made about it. But with that, let's welcome in Keith so he can join us in drinking cacao. So Keith, welcome.
Hello.
So excited you're here.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm coming to you from the highlands of central Guatemala, where I have been living for 18 years, originally from the States.
Yeah.
And I got to know Megan and rake her over the coals a little bit as an empath and say, Megan, you got to stop being a sponge for all the feelings that other people don't want to feel.
Oh, yeah. And it's so funny you say sponge specifically, because I remember there was one job interview that I was going for, and the guy actually used the same word. He's like, "Oh, so you're just a sponge. You just take in everything, all this knowledge, all the things." And I was like, "Yeah." And I thought it was such a great thing. And now I'm like, I didn't have to be a sponge for everything. So yeah, we're
Well,
gonna do that today.
if you don't want to feel it, I'll feel it for you. If you don't know what to do with it, I'll process it through my own emotional body.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll get into explaining what all of that means in greater detail. Because again, on this show, we're all about taking you from the boardroom table where these are not topics anybody talks about to explaining them for everyone to understand and embody and work with. So we'll go into all the minutia of all of those words, those keywords. I think we need a glossary for this one, Keith.
Well, you got a problem with that because in my Microsoft Word dictionary, empath does not exist. Empath is the noun, empathic is the adjective.
Yeah.
But empath, otherwise known as highly sensitive person, is, I get a big red underline
Exactly. The whole
Onward.
Yeah, when I was making all the materials for, advertising this episode, everywhere it would autocorrect it, and I was like, "No, no, empath is a thing." So, what do you say we start with some cacao? And for
All
everyone
right.
that doesn't know, that's Keith's word for yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, a little chocolate church juice.
So, for everybody who's kind of used to my little spiel about things you can put in your cacao that help with every other thing too, in studio today, my cacao has some dandy blend in it, which is dandelion, burdock root, a couple other things, but it's really good for detox and it's a diuretic. It helps with your liver and kidney health, as well as your GI tract and your skin. So very good. Tastes a lot like coffee. So mine kind of tastes like mocha today. And if you are interested, the link to grab your own is in the show notes. Keith, what's in your cacao today?
Well, no dent de leon, a tooth of the lion, that's French for the word that became dandelion. I've got one of my usual mixes. There's a little bit of chaga in it, and there's a couple of shots of tamari, a naturally brewed soy sauce. There's some cinnamon, some hot pepper, chili pepper,
Mm.
some ginger, a little bit of, I gotta always get that little bit of cardamom in there.
Yeah.
Cardamomo down where I am. And I've got some turmeric.
Nice. So
Just
very
because it
anti-inflammatory.
felt like it. Yeah, felt like a little yellow stuff to settle to the bottom and need a little shake it up stir.
I like it. Okay.
So, one of the things I have been doing lately that a lot of people really like is that if you've got some, you know, out there in the world, there's a lot of people putting butter in their coffee and adding this. Seems to be quite popular these days. Well, I recommend in your cacao a little bit of tahini, of the sesame seed. Now, if you've got the tahini that's basically a coarse paste, that's not what I'm talking about. But
No,
the
that wouldn't be so good.
finely ground tahini that is smooth and small particled and oily
Yeah, you get that
can
extra
be,
fat in there and kind of
yeah, can be an
solidifies it.
excellent addition to your crack cow.
Oh, so accurate.
So, anyway, my story with this stuff is that I arrived in Guatemala in 2003, and what I knew about chocolate was called Hershey's. And sitting in meditation on my little porch, I had a visit from this amazing energy, and I thought, oh no, it's another local shaman coming to recruit me. I'd had one before, um, offering me all kinds of absolutely amazing frigging gifts. My God, the local shamans have all these powerful gifts. Yeah, but it comes with a hook, a great big hook, and that is protection.
Ah,
And I had gifts. I had myself covered from head to toe with little, like bamboo like tubes about this long and about that big in diameter that caught all the negative stuff and sent it down to the ground. Entire systems of spirituality based in protection. And we'll get into that a little bit later with sucking up other people's stuff in this empath stuff. So anyway, I basically walked away from all of that. I said, this is not my journey. Working on the lower astral plane is just not what I came here for. It's real. That shit is out there. It's amazing. But no, thank you.
Everybody's
That's
got their own journey.
Well, it wasn't mine. And so a little bit later, here's this energy on my porch, and I like it. And I'm going like, what is this? I don't recognize this. Who are you? I don't know who you are. And I questioned and I went into this. Finally figured out, oh my God, I'm being visited by the spirit of chocolate. Hey, wait a minute. This is a joke.
Right.
I mean, yeah. I know chocolate is really good for PMS, but and I'm talking as someone who had studied 8 different systems of alternative medicine. I ended up teaching 6 of them. Chocolate's good for PMS. I know that, but come on. Like the spirit of chocolate, not we're talking joke level here. But here was this great big energy. And I liked it.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, conditionally, I'm in. A week and a half later, I met a woman on the boat taxi that goes from town to town on the lake. It's how you get around here. You take the boat taxi.
There's worse things.
Well, it can be pretty rough on some days. It can really knock your brains out. Bam, bam, bam. Anyway, I met this woman on the boat taxi, ended up sitting right next to her. And she's talking to me about this project she has on the other side of the mountains in lower elevation coastal rainforest mountains with the biggest tree in the rainforest. It's called Ramon. She ended up calling it Maya nut. It's the basic Central American superfood. It's this tree that drops a nut on the forest floor. It's about the size of my pinky finger nail, about that big.
That's tiny.
A centimeter, half an inch in diameter. And it is an absolutely amazing superfood. It's Central America's most powerful superfood. And if you want to know all about it, you can go to her website, which is mayanutinstitute.org. You can read about the nutrition studies. Anyway, she took me to visit her project. And because I had already checked out cacao on the internet, I mean, I'm in this little town in the middle of Guatemala,
Right.
and there's 2 internet cafes in town. And if somebody in the internet cafe starts watching a YouTube video, nobody else in the entire place can even load a text page from their email. And the guy comes running out. All right, who's doing the download? Who's doing that? And that's the state of internet. And so I would go to the internet every 3 days or 4 days, and I'd copy all my emails into a Word doc on the computer, and I'd take them home and answer them. And then 2 or 3 days later, I'd go back to the internet and upload the copy and paste. And that was internet in this town. This was before the time of cell phone dongles. This was before the time of cell phones. Cell phones didn't exist.
That was probably still when we had dial-up even here.
Yes. I actually got trapped in the town across the lake. After hours, there were no boats left. We had to hire a private boat. The guy with the private boat wanted a huge amount of money.
Of course.
And a friend of mine pulled her flashlight out of her purse and began talking on her flashlight as if she was talking. This is before cell phones really hit. Only a few people knew what cell phones were. She began talking on her flashlight to an imaginary person across the lake, getting a much better boat price.
Oh, brilliant.
So the price came way down, and we took the boat, and I got to sleep with my kitty cats that night
Oh,
instead of having them go hungry and have to wait until the morning.
yes.
So anyway, I visited this town with her on the other side of the mountains, and I saw cacao growing. And then people had the beans drying in the yard. And I asked, when we were finished with the botanist, I asked if I could buy some of their cacao. And they said, no, you can't. But if you come back in a week, we'll have some made for you. So at a 5 hour trip to get there, 45-minute walk up into the coastal, hot, steamy, sweat dripping rainforest. And I got my cacao and I had lunch under a wild mango tree. The
Ooh.
most unbelievable taste ever, but it leaves strings in your teeth that are still there a week later. Anyway, brought the cacao back. Next morning, I talked to the cacao spirit, rang her up on that cosmic telephone that everybody has, that you've all been taught you don't have, where you can talk with any being in any reality, living or dead, in this world or another, on this planet or another, whatever. I called her up and I said, okay, what do I do with this stuff? I got 5 pounds of it. What do I do? And she told me what to do with it. And I said, whoa. That's like, I think I'm going to take half that amount. Not sure if I'm going to trust an unknown plant medicine
Well,
right off the bat. So,
and that's what we talk about here too, it's like an ounce, ounce and a half, but you do you at your own pace. Yeah.
so I took it, and an hour later, I rang her back up on the cosmic telephone, and I said, okay, I've got one of this planet's most important medicine plants, consciousness accelerating plants, running around in my system, and it's not like any plant medicine I've ever had. Hey, I've been with the shamans
Yeah.
from indigenous psychedelic using cultures, just like so many people. And this plant, this cacao, is not taking me on a trip. And yet the doors are wide open.
Mhm.
And I'm able to connect on all these other levels.
Right, and it's absolutely amazing what cacao is capable of, and the fact that she doesn't push, unlike so many of the others. She
And
doesn't.
I started working with her, and she'd tell me, hey, chocolate brings the door, but doesn't push you through it, and all of these fun things. And I remember one time I'd been taking cacao almost every day, doing my meditations, doing my private sessions, having a lot of fun. And I say, wait. I what is behind this? I want to know what the big picture is. I don't know what the big picture is. So like serve it up to me. Cacao Spirit, what's the big picture? And she says, all right, I'll take care of it. And I went, eh. So a week later, I'm back in the internet cafe and I'm reading an anthropological journal, and it's talking about an ancient myth. And the myth says, when mankind gets out of harmony with the natural world, cacao, chocolate, comes out of the rainforest to open people's hearts and reestablish the balance.
Yes.
That's the myth. And I
Yeah.
went, oh, that's what I'm doing. I am helping a plant spirit medicine plant come out of the rainforest into the Western world. I'm not working with indigenous peoples. I don't know what the indigenous did with cacao. It's not my business. They do what they do. I do what I do. I'm helping cacao come out of the rainforest and enter the Western world. And the cacao spirit's going, all right, you ready to have a website? I'm going, you're kidding me. I don't want to learn. I mean, this is 2004. I don't want to learn HTML. You know, this is so simple. This is so obvious. There's got to be at least a dozen other people that understand exactly what I understand, and they're drinking down this special cacao, and let them do the frigging website. I'm having too much fun drinking cacao and doing my sessions and hiking in the mountains.
I had the same thought when I was told you need to start a podcast. So I hear you. But this podcast is turning out to be a lot of fun. So,
Well,
and I'm getting to share cacao with everyone.
and so finally, I said, all right, all right, all right. And I got on the web and I found that you can get a template. 70 US dollars, you can buy a template for a website and it gives you 5 pages. And I went, hey, what the? I've got a tentative website plan and it's 10 pages. And I went, all right, what can I do?
Pay twice.
And what I discovered was I could get a free blog.
Yes.
And if I put dates all within 1 month on a blog, off to the right side of the website would be all of the pages, each being a different date. Easily I've got 31 pages.
Yes.
And it still exists. Almost nobody goes there anymore, but it still exists.
Keith, I think we lost your audio. So you are going to cacao.blogspot.com. That's Keith's personal blog website. It's full of all kinds of amazing information. It was absolutely where he started with all of the cacao information and getting that out to everyone. So from that, it's gone into Keith's Cacao as a more kind of, we'll say, modern day and full functioning website, and that's also in the show notes. And we're going to take a quick break right now. We're having a little bit of technical, and I need to reheat my cacao. So hold tight. We did see your comments and questions, and we will be getting to those very shortly. Sorry about that. Thank you for holding on and waiting with us. And while we continue to work on getting Keith back online, do we have Keith back online? Not quite, it would seem. I see him waving so he can hear me, but I can't hear him. So I think there's still some technical issues in that. That's what happens when you're coming from Guatemala. It's amazing that we can connect with him, and having this technology is absolutely fantastic. But as we all know, especially from having to go to Zoom meetings for the past year and a half, technical issues happen. So while we're waiting for Keith to come back and get everything connected, let's enjoy our cacao. So if you have your cacao, again, mine is Dandy Blend today. So my happy mocha flavor, which isn't necessarily right what I want to do at night, but hey, it'll detox me while I sleep. So
All right, am I back?
Oh, I hear Keith. It looks like we have Keith back.
Oh, right. I see a very strange image up on the screen. Let's see if we can.
Keith, you froze.
I am frozen.
But we have your audio. We were just about to bless our cacao and have a sip of it. Let it fill us.
Oh, dear. Here we are.
um, if you'd like to join us for that while you and Brian, our wonderful engineer, are going through the technicalities, then I will continue with the viewers on blessing our cacao and getting it circulating in our systems so that we've got that ready for us when we go to do our empath work. And I'm going to take that as a yes, because I hear dogs, but I don't hear Keith. So,
do you have me now?
I hear you. I don't see you, but I hear you.
Okay. Well, sweetheart, reboot the router. All right. We're going to do a router reboot here and come back shortly and see if that helps with the internet realities.
Perfect. Thank you, Keith. Okay. So, while we're waiting for Keith to come back, everyone take your cacao. If you have it, if you don't have cacao, that's totally fine. Your tea, your water, whatever it is. And just come into your center, feel into your heart space, inhaling through your nose, really getting the scent of whatever it is you're working with. Like I said, mine is cacao and dandy blend, so that happy mocha scent. Letting it fill you all the way from the top of your crown down to where you meet the earth. And giving a thank you to our guides and guardians, all of the plant, animal, and nature spirits, Mama Cacao herself, Keith for bringing his magic with us today, all of our ancestors and relatives, and all our friends and family, seen and unseen. A great big thank you for co-creating with us, holding us and supporting us in this safe space, and letting us know we are unconditionally loved simply for existing. And when you filled with that light, that love, that energy, however you want to see it, whether you feel warmth within your body radiating from your heart, or you see it as a glow of pure white light. When you're ready, giving your cacao a stir and taking a sip. And just finding today where something maybe feels a little stuck. Something doesn't feel like it's moving as well as it should be or could be. Feels like there's maybe a blockage. A spot where something just can't get past. And really inhaling into that space, taking another sip, and letting all the energy from the cacao gather into that space. And taking a big inhale through your nose, holding it, letting that air fill you. Letting it loosen up any of those tight spots you've got left. And a big exhale to let it all go. And thank you, Emily, in the chat for the love. So much going back out to you as well. Somebody from Facebook commenting, how are you doing? I'm fabulous. Have cacao. Have some amazing music. Getting to share this experience with you guys. Just continuing to let that energy fill you all the way to your fingertips, all the way to your toes. Radiating out the crown of your head. Connecting you down into the earth. Noticing that you have that same connection to the earth that the cacao spirit does, that the plants do. You have roots as well. And with those roots, you can release what no longer serves you back into the earth. And you can allow all of those minerals and vitamins and nutrients that keep plants alive through their roots to do the same with you. Let the energy of the earth fill you with everything that you need to thrive and grow. I made powerful cacao today. It's very good. So to not keep you guys waiting too much, I'm going to start talking with you about what an empath is, the definitions of being an empath, the common questions that we get in terms of starting as an empath. And it looks like we're getting Keith back on audio.
Can you hear me, Megan?
Keith, I can hear you. Yes.
Oh, that is absolutely amazing.
So it looks like we've got you back on audio, which is fabulous.
All right. If I punch the video button to start the cam, I disappear.
Oh, I think you punched the video button. Are you back? Nope. He punched the video button. Okay. We've got him back on audio. Okay.
And it says right here, everyone can see and hear you, but I'm not here. Anyway, so
we had our cacao. We're all charged up, filled, ready to go, and really dig into what is an empath and how to work with that. So what I was saying while we were getting you back in here, Keith, is anybody who's been called highly sensitive, which you mentioned before, people who have a hard time being in really crowded spaces and get really tired from it. Personally, for me, it was the physical manifestation of symptoms when I had been around people that were unhappy, that were fighting, and then I would take that in as as a physical thing and get stomach aches all the time or sinus infections. So Keith, do you want to add to that? I mean, you've worked with far more people than I have at this point. So
Absolutely. Let's jump into this. So it was I'd been doing work with empaths for several years, and it was 2008, and I was in London having having fun doing cacao ceremonies, and I did a cacao ceremony, and we did a bunch of work with this highly sensitive people. And after the ceremony, a young woman in the group came up to me and she said, "Hey, do you know that the people you are talking about are called empaths? And there's a whole bunch of websites about empaths." And I
mhm.
went, "No, I don't even know that." So I was so excited and I stayed up until 3 a.m. in the morning on the web reading all of the empath sites. And it was such a huge letdown. It was such a
Oh,
huge disappointment. All of the empath sites were about protection.
oh yeah.
One site was about the powerful empath, sort of, but
Mm,
you still had to protect yourself. And it was like, oh my God, what a friggin' letdown. So, defense protection is a prayer for attack.
right.
Dear universe, I want to protect myself from other people's energies. Ooh, that's your fun. We'll throw more shit at you so you can have more fun because you just prayed for that and we're going to answer your prayers. And that's how it works.
Right. It goes back to that the universe doesn't understand no, it only understands passion. So if
Yes,
you're putting out there that a huge no, a huge protection, it's going to go, okay, cool. Like if you have a no smoking sign, people are going to smoke there.
don't litter
Right.
tells the subconscious to litter.
Right.
So I'm like, oh my goodness, nobody understands this in a how are you really going to work with this that is not protection?
Right. And
So,
it's not about turning it off. It's embracing it entirely.
well, here you are. You're a person who has power. You've got love and you've got commitment to helping other people.
Oh yeah.
And beginning as a little child, you learned to suck in the density from other people around you. Now, I'm not going to get involved in the controversy here. Do you actually take it on? Do you adjust your frequency to match the lower energies? Whatever you do, whatever. Do you process it through your own emotional body? Okay.
Right. There's tons of ways.
However, you want to consider it, you end up drowning in the emotional energies of other people.
Oh yes.
And you have done that big time.
I'm
You
carrying that
you
risk.
fall in love.
Oh,
And your job is to feel what somebody else called a sweetheart doesn't want to feel.
well, there's a lot of names for that. That's also family. That's, just
Yep.
people you care about.
Family, everybody.
Yeah.
You walk down the street, you go to a party. My sweetheart used to end up as a teenager. She'd end up on the bed with all the coats, the second floor bedroom with
Yep.
everybody's coat because she was just sucking down everything from everybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're the person that finds the dog in the corner and that's where you stay the whole party, you're probably an empath.
Yep. And everybody else would have a much better time at the party because they had all their density lifted off them. But my sweetheart would want to be nothing but alone.
And shout out to Barbara, your sweetheart that you keep mentioning, because I know she's there and I know she's contributing to this too. So thank you to her as well.
Well, she's as much a part of me as I am. Um, so what are you going to do if you have a magic straw and you slurp up, you suck up this density from individuals, from groups, or from an entire society, a global reality of pain?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Lose your mind, hide, find a cave.
And drown.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you're going to manifest it into physical symptoms. You're going to get sick all the time. You're going to have injuries all the time. You're going to gain weight because that way you're holding it in something else instead of inside your internal organs and destroying those.
Or
You're,
if you put on 40 pounds, you can maybe protect yourself from this
oh,
shit from other people.
yeah. Yeah. Not
Or
the,
you can crawl in a hole called depression, pull the lid over you, and work through it.
mm-hmm.
But you're going to process other people's emotions through your personal emotional body. You're going to feel what they don't want to feel.
Right. And that's even more common now. It's just getting more and more common by the day.
Well, as the insanity increases on the planet, as more and more stuff comes up, people who don't want to deal with it, hey, Megan, I see you've got this big sign on you that says I'm an empath. And so I'm going to walk up to you and I'm going to puke all over you
Oh yeah. Well,
because
I'll
I know you'll take it.
I
And you know, I remember years and years ago saying, "Hey, have you ever had the experience of making love and you get slimed, especially when somebody had an orgasm and they're going, oh my God, sweetheart, I feel so incredible." And you just got absolutely puked all over. And they're not going to want to hear that you feel absolutely horrible because you just got all of the stuff that they released. And you know,
Oh, there's so many ways to take on
we are not allowed to talk about getting slimed when you make love.
there's a lot of things that we're not allowed to talk about.
Well, yeah, and that's one of them.
Mhm.
What you're supposed to say is, "Oh, yes, it was absolutely fantastic. I know I just ate all of your stuff instantaneously when you had an orgasm, but I feel absolutely horrible, but I'm going to play the game that I am this awesome lover because that's what you expect."
Keith, it sounds like there's a lot of people in the comments right now that are right
Uh-oh.
there with you, understanding exactly what you're talking about.
So,
So I think we've got some people that are really connecting with the message of taking on other people's stuff in every type of situation, from very intimate situations to very conversational situations. Um, so let's get into some ways to maybe help yourself stay balanced and not really take those in so much, but to still be able to help the other people. Because I mean, at the core of it, we all still care. That's why we're empaths.
okay, since childhood, you've been sucking down other people's stuff, your parents' stuff, your siblings' stuff, your sweetheart's stuff. so they don't have to deal with it and they can be a little nicer to you. All right.
Yeah, and somebody in the chat just asked, why is it so hard to find my center at times? I think we just answered that.
Well,
because you're taking on everything from everyone.
now this is an agreement, not making it wrong, but processing other people's stuff through your personal emotional body, drowning in it, getting depressed, having emotional symptoms, having physical symptoms, having massive headaches, whatever. All of this works to move this energy for other people. Thank you very much. What a powerful healer you are. But wait a minute. This is not very efficient.
Not when you need to take 3 weeks to recover after that.
When you go to a party and you need to isolate yourself to recover from what you have taken on,
Mm-hmm.
highly sensitive person, empath. So what do you do?
Used to be eat a lot of terrible things.
Stuff yourself.
Right.
Get depressed. Have various symptoms, which then you need medical treatment for. Have pain.
Right. So then what do we do instead? That's a much healthier way that'll help us and them.
Close your eyes, folks. Here we go.
We're going inside.
Look at who you are. You are an advanced energy worker. You couldn't do what you're doing if you weren't highly skilled and very powerful. Now you happen to be doing it by feeling it, by drowning in other people's shit, quite literally. Well, okay. That's where it starts. But what you're doing is a profoundly healing thing. You are releasing other people from their emotions. Megan, get rid of that music.
We're bringing some ambiance, Keith.
Oh, okay. That's what we're doing. All right.
Yeah, got to block out the road noise for people that are driving.
Oh, my goodness. Badness and major madness. All right. So here you are, an awesomely powerful energy worker, moving these energies, but you're processing them through your personal emotional body. I don't think that is the best way to do it. So imagine yourself receiving from other people the shit they don't want to deal with. And you'll deal with it for them.
And right away, my throat chakra starts to close.
Absolutely, it does. And your heart will close and you'll, But imagine this energy from other people coming toward you, except that a meter, a yard, 1 yard in front of you, it turns and it goes straight up to the angels, straight down to the Mother Earth. Mother Earth, she knows what to do with it. She'll clean this up. The angels know how to transmute this at another level. They would love to help you. You can, by your own choice, take this in and process it personally yourself. I know how to take other people's energy in. I know how to turn it into divine light within my own heart. But why bother? I've got a large number of friends. who'll do it for me, and so do you. So take this energy and watch it come toward you from the people you love, from the people you have agreements with, that you will handle what they do not want to deal with. Send it off. Let your friends take it. Let them transmute it to other dimensions. You want to go and follow it? Go on up. Follow the energy that you are attracting on up. Follow it up till you get to a place where there's a lot of white light. It's everywhere. That is the density that you're working with that has been transmuted, been turned back in to divine light by your friends, effortlessly and easily in another dimension. Yes, you can do it through your own body. Yes, I did it myself for a long time, years. Megan's an expert.
Yeah.
Megan's eaten so much shit she could
Write books
write a
for
book.
the rest of my life.
And so have you. Let your friends take it. When you allow this stuff to come towards you and then go on to clean up with the help of your friends, you'll notice that stuff is flowing out of you. And going off to clean up with the rest of it. And it's effortless. And you don't have to process it through your personal emotional body. You can, but it becomes a choice. So this is our first level meditation where you bring it towards you, but before it goes into you, you send it off to clean up. The second level is to send it directly wherever you get it, whether it's at a global level, a group level, or a personal level, wherever you get this density from. Call for it, direct it to release directly to cleanup, up to the service level in many religions called angels, or down to the Mother Earth. Not a burden on her. She knows exactly what to do with it. Up, down, or both. Go for it.
And what I like to do is visualize a magnet pulling it. I tell a lot of the people that I work with, since they're so familiar with it, to just visualize a magnet either over or below, pulling it and helping them.
And it's your magnet.
Mm-hmm.
Where formerly you had magnetized it into your personal emotional body and drowned.
Mm-hmm.
Now it can go right off with a little help from your friends. Be handled at other levels. And you can feel powerful because you are. What do you think you came here for? Why do you think you spent so many years studying the negative energies of this planet by eating them?
So you could be a world-class healer.
That's exactly right.
And everyone that's listening and that's involved in this podcast absolutely is. I can feel the magic.
Now, we've got a full discussion of this. If you open up YouTube and type into the YouTube search box, Empath Training Keith, my mug will come up. It's a cell phone recording made in one of my empath trainings years ago. We're going to produce a full-on video, but it ain't done yet. So this is all we got. Some of the questions are very hard to hear because it's just a cell phone recording. But all of this in far more detail. Go open up YouTube, type into the search box Empath Training Keith, and there it'll be for you. It's, I don't know, an hour and 16 minutes or something like that.
Maybe we can put that on the list of things to do in March, record a new one.
I don't know. We've got a lot of recordings and they're being put together into a video, but it ain't happened yet. So one of these years we'll get there.
Yeah. There's always so much to do.
Ain't that the truth? All right. So
one of the visualizations that I like to use with my clients too is those old school bank tubes that you would put the cartridge in to go up or down. And I tell the people that I'm working with to stand inside that bank tube while all the things are coming at them and watch it go up and down.
Oh my God, Megan, you have so dated yourself.
Oh yeah, it's totally fine. I do it every day.
So the basic understanding is that you decided in this lifetime to study density. And you studied it by taking it inside of you, by eating other people's pain, their fear, their anxiety, their stress, their lies. You took it inside yourself because you cared so much about your fellow humans. You wanted to study the pain of this dimension. Okay, eat it, eat it, eat it. But now it's time to do something else with it. To not process it through your own system, but let your multidimensional friends handle the processing. And what I've seen so many people experience is when you are secure in letting other levels process your stuff, you can process 10 times, 100 times. You can help 1,000 times more than you could when you were eating it through your own emotional system.
Absolutely.
And then you become Mr. and Mrs. Effortlessly Awesome Healer, which is who you came here to be.
You might have lost Keith. Because he said, and then you become Mr. and Mrs. and then stop.
And am I
Apparently
still
the
on?
energies are just too much. You guys you're blowing out the feed. What can I tell you? I can definitely feel the amount of things being moved just through this conversation. And it's kind of an esoteric thing to think about if you're just starting on your journey with healing and with spirituality right now. But energy is not something that follows linear time as we know it. So all of the energies that are going to be seen and heard and worked with during this podcast now or in the future are all coming through right now. So the amount of energies that are around the consciousness of this podcast are just completely amplified and apparently destroying feeds. So amazing job to everyone that is joining us live. Feel free to ask any other questions that you have, share your experiences. Like Keith was saying, you're taking on all of the anger, all of the fear, all of what we see as negative that's around us. And in my perspective, in my work, in my own healing, I've also noticed that the lessons, the truths, the gifts in all of those types of things are actually some of the most powerful. And if you go back to like Star Wars, where they'll tell you the dark side has more power, um, it can. It can, but not necessarily in those terms. So instead of seeing it as the dark side, it's the shadow side. It's the things that we are less taught to love. But then if you go back to what's the book? A Course in Miracles, it says it's either love or a call for love. So all of those dark things are just a call for love. And what all of you guys are doing as empaths is seeing that and hearing that call and responding to that call, which makes you open to so much more power and knowledge and understanding, and more than anything, compassion. And that's really where most of the magic, the healing, the ability to tap into these gifts that we call them comes from. So, you know, when you were a little kid and you had an imaginary friend, who's to say that you didn't? You know, if we can watch psychics on TV, if we can go to different healing events where, I mean, if you watched the Heal documentary on Netflix, they just touch you and you're healed. Then who's to say that we can't all tap into that? And a big part of it is that when you're stepping into being an empath, that's the first step towards all of these things, towards opening to your gifts, towards accepting them. So Todd says, I tend to attract people when they are in need. Is this normal? Todd, yes, this is absolutely normal for an empath. If you didn't want to help them, if that wasn't who you were, then you wouldn't be attracting them. The key and the reason that we were doing this podcast today, and why it's so important in my book, and pretty much anyone who would call themselves a healer's book, is if you are the type of person that cares, if you are an empath, that's what you're going to keep getting. You're going to keep getting those people who need you, who know they can dump on you. Sometimes they're going to be somewhat vampirical and suck the energy from you. And what we're doing in this episode and kind of the exercises that we were just doing is giving you the tools to not have those negative side effects, not feel like you're being used, not take on their stuff personally, not eat it, not put on the weight because of it, not feel like you need to sleep for 4 days because of it, but to hold it outside of you and still be able to help them without really just internalizing and then manifesting more negativity for yourself. Because a lot of us empaths too like to hide because people find us when they need us. And we eventually get tired of playing that game. So then we become small, we hide, we find ways to disguise ourselves. And it was funny, before we jumped on, Keith even pointed out I'm wearing a black shirt. I had on a black hat. We're in a black studio. And I explicitly told him, yeah, man, I'm coming out of hiding a little bit, doing a podcast. There's pictures of me online, but I still have to hide a little. So it's baby steps, but that's exactly what it is. People know, they can feel that we're going to help them, and so they seek us out. And it's using these exercises that we're teaching in this podcast, as well as, like Keith mentioned, his training on YouTube, Empath Training Keith. It's also connected to my channel. I have a playlist called Keith's Cacao. It's in there. So you can find it very easily if you go to my YouTube. The other, oh, sorry, things were moving. I was seeing if we had Keith back yet. It doesn't look like we do. So I'm not sure if we're going to get him back. Oh, maybe. I think we've got him. Keith?
Hello?
Do we
Hello,
have
can you
Keith?
hear me?
Nope. That was a false hope. Unlike Star Wars, where it's a new hope. Sorry, I'm totally a Star Wars nerd. Yeah, so some of these exercises. Oh, the other fun thing that came up as I was talking about that. So often when we're talking about healing, when we're talking about things that you can pull out of your bag, we call them tools. And I was at an event this past weekend that this person said the most profound thing, and it just made me so joyous, and I would love to share it with you. That he said, instead of going to the toolbox, because the toolbox seems like we need to fix something. That's when we go to the toolbox to get our tools to fix things. But we're not broken. We're not broken at all. No one's broken. So instead, we have a toy box, and we can go back to the toy box and take out things to play with. And that's so much more fun. And when you think of that, think of everything in that context, and what we're doing throughout this whole podcast, throughout all of the Cacao Crowd episodes, is giving you guys these toys to play with instead of tools to fix things. So I hope that that's what you guys are getting from this as well, and that you're finding enjoyment in these exercises, that you're being able to breathe a little bit easier. I know when we were just doing the exercise with Keith, where we let it kind of towards us, and then send it up or down, my stomach just opened a little bit. There was some, gurgly noises and stuff, but there was a nice bit of relief there. So yeah, still relief. So so if that's something that you guys experience too, feel free to share it. And if you don't feel comfortable sharing here, you can always DM me, send me a message on Instagram at megan.hopper, or join the Facebook group, and you can share with the community there. I'm sure there's a ton of people in the community there that would love to join and talk about their experiences too. It doesn't look like we're getting Keith back in today. So I will post up his empath training, his full empath training, in the show notes later. They'll come in after the live. So you'll have to go back to Facebook or YouTube or Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to it, and find the show notes there. Other than that, if you want to book private time with me, feel free to jump on my link tree. There's a button to book private appointments, and we can work through some other empath toys for you guys to play with. Thank you so much to Keith, to Barbara, to my engineer, Brian, for really trying to get Keith back. And to all of you, especially, for joining, for listening, for trusting us with helping give you new ways to deal with some of these things that are not the most comfortable or easiest to talk about. I hope you guys all had a blast, learned some things, and we'll see you next Thursday here at 6:15 Pacific, if not sooner, at one of my other events. Thank you so much.